Adventureverse Mission Editor User Guide, Cutscenes Part 3. So in the previous video I'd put together a simple cinematic cutscene with these two characters where they have dialogue and the camera moves around. Let's get them to animate and move around and do things themselves while while the cutscene's going on. You know, because currently they're just kind of standing around staring into space. Now the way to do that is through the cutscene steps. Your intro CS1, intro CS2 and so on. We'll select one of them. And the cutscene step is basically a line of dialogue that gets spoken, and then this event timeline, which is just a series of events with timestamps on them. So if we wanted Adam Zorn to animate, we could go plus maybe 1 second into it. We're going to pick an object. Adam Zorn will animate, and we'll get him to do the, I don't know, cast staff right 3, maybe area's the correct one, and we could sort of test that and keep iterating like that. That's all a little bit clumsy. Now you may have noticed this. Let me show you the cool way to do it. We've got this big plus sign here, and when we press that we can choose any kind of character in the scene. We've got Team 1 to Team 4 are basically the player and their potential allies, but we'll pick Adam Zorn and we'll give him a cutscene track. We can now add animation, movement, turning, or using a power. So we'll go add an animation turn, and when you click on that button you then get a list of all the animations you can do. And which one did we want him to do? Overhand cast. Now watch the character. When we press that, he actually does the animations, so you can preview them all. So you probably want to zoom in so you can see the character. Area, sort of use that as a shrug maybe, and we'll go save. And this button, this yellow button now, says area, says the name of the animation on it. And we can actually right drag it around on his timeline there. This represents the length of this yellow button now represents the length of the animation, and the length of this entire window represents the whole 5 seconds of the dialogue of the cutscene step, the 5 seconds we got there. So that's sort of set up a little timeline for him. Yeah, and we can add something else. Let's add a quick move to him as well. Alright, so we've put one there. We'll get him to do that after he's shrugged. Get him to walk somewhere. And when we click on this one, we get exactly what we need. It makes a little marker for us and puts it in our hand with the mouse so we can get him to walk somewhere. We'll get him to walk just over there now. And that's all in the first step. Now you'll notice this event timeline up here is getting a little bit big and clumsy. We've got all these, 2.4 seconds. Adam Zorn does a move to command to the player to walk. Not the player, I don't think. But yeah, it's a bit hard to read. So if you like, you can collapse all of them and just look at the timeline here. And let's go to the cutscene and play this. Go to the cutscene there and we can test. And he does his animation and then walks over there, a little bit off camera, so we might want to adjust that camera thing. What we could do actually, I'll show you, is can get a slightly better view of the level from above here, and we can move his start position. So we'll go to that cutscene step again, we'll click on walk, and let's get him to move here, sort of towards Esperanto. There. And we can just test that again. This is the tweak cycle, the tiny tweak cycle I like. So this is what it means to be human. It's moved from his start spot here. And he then moves towards that point there. So yeah, problem there, he'd moved from his start spot. Let's just reset the level. And let's just add another move there. I'll collapse all of these. and we'll add another move to his thing at the very beginning. Click on that and we can place a marker at his feet. And we can now hold down Control, left Control, and cycle between walk, run and snap. We're going to snap him there. So every time this cutscene starts, he gets teleported to that point. Let's play the cutscene again. Test. Is this what it means to feel human? And he then runs over there off camera. Yeah, still doing that a little bit at the wrong time. And this is the way you can sort of cycle through this. So you can have characters animating, characters doing animations. What else can we do in here? Let's get him to turn. Move with the right mouse button. When he turns, we click on that. We can then click on a red button to say who he turns to. He's going to turn to Esperanto. And you can see that, whoops, not that click. You can see that in the events here. 2.1 Adam Zone will turn to Esperanto. Now how the turns work is the characters turn to have a turn target, to have an object they're tracking during a cutscene. When they're moving, they don't turn to look at the object, they move in the direction they're moving. So he'll now run over there and stop and look at her. And we can add a line for her as well, Esperanto, and get her to turn to follow him all the time. So click on that, click on Adam Zorn. She's now looking at Adam Zorn at all times, following him. I think we need to sort the cameras out a little bit. I'll just go View Object. We'll go View Start. We're starting over here. View End. I'll just pull that back a bit to there and go Save End. So we can now test that opening camera shot again. Will take us into here to looking at him on that marker, and then when he runs he won't be running off camera. So we'll go to the intro cutscene again and test. Is this what it means to feel human? And he turns to face her at the end of the run now. She goes, yeah, something like that. Now what we'll get her to do in the second one, when she's talking, we'll add a track for Esperanto again in the second one, and we'll get her to use a power. So she's going to use Cybolt versus the player. We could get her to use it against Adam Zorn. Cybolt is one of her powers. If we click on this, we've got a list of all the powers. There's all her various powers up to Psionic Touch. And then there's all the other powers you've got in your power library. Cybolt should be good. If we get that thing out of the way, I think if we click on this and click on Cybolt, we get to see her use it. Oh right, she goes and stuns him there. Right. Let's just check that then. Intro CS, rather, with a yellow test button lives. Is this what it means to feel human? Oh, Action Detectives can join us. And she then uses this power while she's talking to him. And now, problem we've got there is Adam Zorn's now been stunned by this. We didn't really want that to happen. We just wanted the Cybolt to look like a telepathic something. So what we can actually do in the cutscene at the top level here is we've got RPG mode. The powers have effects while this cutscene is playing. And we can say no effects, so that the powers have basically just become cosmetic flashy lights. Let's test that again, one final time. This is what, oh, she's run off now. Whoops. Right, that's tricky. I'll just get out of there and reset. And test again. Is this what it means to feel human? Runs over there. Esperanto uses her power on him, but you notice he doesn't get stunned now. It just has the effect of she's using telepathic power on him. So, that's a quick overview of the cutscene editor. Best practice is use a cutscene template to create the cutscenes. And in there, in the gold top level thing, always rename it first. You can say whether it's cinematic or not, how many steps there are, and you can fill in the dialogue and sketch that out. That will, the build button will then create a cutscene step and a camera for each one. If you ticked cinematic, you don't get the cameras if you didn't tick cinematic. And then you can go into the cutscene steps individually and manage like the timeline for each character who's involved, and add these animations, movements, turns, and power blocks to their timeline to get them to do different things. And each of those things will have context-sensitive action when you click on the button, to either set up the power, set up the animation, choose who you turn in to look at, or place a marker for where you want to move to. And left control cycles through snap, walk, and run like that. There you go.